Hi everyone, Jens Johansson here, founder of J2 Building Consultants, experts in providing solutions to building owners on how to repair and maintain their buildings. From the smallest to the tallest, we've spent the past 25 years understanding construction. Welcome to another free educational video series. In this video, I'm going to share with you the difference between reserve studies and inspections, and I'll talk about the confusing kind of trend we're seeing a little bit. But as with all our educational videos, we've found that simply talking to you like we would talk to you in your conference room or out on the sidewalk in front of your building is better than the glitzy, glamorous animation that we can do with videos these days. So let's get started. Reserve studies. We have a question. What is the question you're trying to answer in a reserve study versus an inspection? A reserve study is a financial planning tool that's helping you set aside funds and dues in order to replace something on your building at a future date. Let me give you an example. We all know that a roof, let's pick a number, lasts 20 years. And your particular roof is 7 years old right now. You supposedly have 13 years left. So in 13 years, you know you will need a complete roof replacement. So you start saving now, and that way you don't have a big surprise for that later. And you go down your list of components on everything, whether it's siding, windows, doors, light fixtures, parking lots, etc. And you set aside that money. It does a couple of different things. It helps you with your financial modeling, but you're also making estimates on those time frames. Is it a 20-year roof? Do you have 13 years left? Was it really installed 7 years ago? Sometimes we don't know that, so we're making that guess. So another distinction about it is it's usually visual only. In performing reserve studies, we don't remove a bunch of siding, we don't tear into things, we don't disturb anything, we just walk around and look. And as you know, particular kinds of cladding, you can pressure wash and clean and repaint and they look brand new. And so sometimes it takes a critical eye to develop that experience to be able to say, that has about 5 years left. Another piece is, again, with these estimates, we need these annual updates and monitoring. We just painted, back to my example, we just painted and it looks really good. What does it look like next year? Do we see staining coming out from behind something? Is that evidence of a leak? Last year we said you had 13 years left, but then we looked at it and we saw some disturbing degradation trends that, whoa, wow, maybe you only have 5 years left. And so you're really coming back to this living document and updating it. Also check with your state requirements. Some states have annual requirements, others have every 3 years. Just check with your requirements, check with your bylaw requirements as well. Another piece is it's a plan for a fix. So you can start planning, and back to our roofing example again, you can say, hey, in 13 years we know we will need a good roof replacement. But hey, the recession right now, maybe it's a good time to fix things now. Construction prices are down, material prices are down, there's plenty of contractors looking for work. Maybe it's not 13 years, maybe it says 2 years out. But let's take advantage of today's economy and get it done for 20% less. So those are pieces you can do that. And then I put just because. We've run into a couple of projects where they said, well, our reserve study said we needed a complete paint job here in 5 years, and it's been 5 years, so by golly, we're gonna paint it. We're gonna follow this plan. Can you give us some paint specs? And we came out and said, wait a minute. Your 5-year estimate was just an estimate. You have another 3 to 5 years on this paint before you have to do anything. You don't need to spend that money to do it right now just because your reserve study said you did. So it's a tool, it's an estimate. Keep track of it, keep up to date on it, but it does just that. An estimate, visual only, you're doing a lot of guessing. So in choosing your reserve study specialist, choose a construction expert, but also choose an estimating expert. And what I mean by that is we're determining a lifespan on your roof, but we're also determining what that will cost. So did I go to an outdated estimating manual that said roofing costs X amount, so therefore you need to set aside that amount? or did I really use real world experience or real world pricing to do that? So you can see how the cost estimates can be off too, just like the time estimates. So what's the difference on an inspection? An inspection question really says, why is this product leaking, or why is it failing, or what is going on, or what is the extent? And so we can do visual inspections, but we really like to do invasive inspections to just peel the layers of the onion, so to speak, see what's going on underneath that, and then that helps us understand any kind of damage, real actual damage. Hey, it is what it is. We're looking at if it's rotten, hey, it's rotten. We're not going to make an estimate on assume 5% rot. We're going to say, no, there's actually 10% rot. So it's peeling it back, it's looking at what really is going on. Then it's defining a scope of repair on what actually has to be done. It's not based on a time frame again. It's not based on wear and tear. It's, hey, we have a problem and we need to fix it. And then getting into the fix, it helps design the fix. So two different animals. Back to the win on the inspections. We encourage, obviously, if you need to, if you have a leak that you need to get an understanding of what's going on, certainly do it. But if you don't, we would encourage at least every 2 years, maybe every 3 years, to kind of monitor things. I'm going to take you over to a medical example that I use often. Consider your annual health checkup, your annual exam. You do that so that the doctor can take a look at you, run some tests, run some blood work, run some things, and then come back and say, hey, we're starting to notice something. So doing an inspection even when you don't need to, you can say, hey, we're starting to see a little decay over here. We're starting to see some signs of water intrusion or some cracking that's unexplained. So this allows you to address it when the issue is small versus opening it up and saying, wow, I wish I would have maintained my sealants 5 years ago. I wouldn't have all this problem now. So here's the difference between the two. One of the alarming trends we're seeing is particularly condominium associations saying, we had our reserve study specialist do an inspection, so we don't need to do an inspection. So that's kind of like saying, well, I went to the dentist, so I don't need to go to the doctor. It's two different things. It's two different pieces. One is a tool, financial planning tool, visual only, and the other one, like we've discussed, is an opening, and it is what it is, and you really kind of get an understanding of what's going on underneath. So hopefully that explains the difference. If you have any questions, please contact us. Thank you for your time.